soul roots are kicking in. I'm playing Venom like a grappler now. The defensive options in this game are so cool, but I don't entirely understand them yet, but I want to. The basic rundown, I would say, GG Swifts, thank you for playing, thank you for coming through. The basic rundown, I would say, is that focus, take it one step at a time. And I would say focus on FDing first. I barely play Jackbox with my friends, and I know all our inside jokes. Fair. It's the same with my group. I don't play Jackbox with them often, but I know all the inside jokes. Anyways, Guilty Gear Defense 101. So you have four defensive options. Four active meter defensive options. You have IB, FD, Dead Angle, and Burst. And wow, this game froze, which is good because it knew that I was talking. So you have IB, FD, Burst, and Dead Angle. So those are the four I generally lump together. And IB, I would say IB ignore when you're starting. Yeah, it's a beta. It is a beta. Just remember, kids. But so IB, I would say when you're starting out, don't worry about instant blocking too much at first. Many people advise that you should only IB something. You should only IB if you know what you're trying to IB. It's sort of like sidestepping in Tekken. When you watch high-level Tekken and talk to Tekken pros, they're not sidestepping all the time. In the same way, people aren't just IBing whenever just for meter. When you IB, you should be doing it consciously. It's an active defensive choice. So you should only IB if you know there's a specific move you're fishing for, that when you instant block it, you can either hopefully punish it or create at least enough of a frame advantage for yourself to form a gap to either a barre or fuzzy jump out or, I don't know, DP or something. So don't worry about IB at the start. FD, I think, is a very beginner-friendly mechanic. You should definitely try to FD to create space. Think of FD like push block. I like to think of FD as push block. It's like a metered push block, sort of like BB tag in a way. You want to FD to create that space to get them away. A lot of block strings in Guilty Gear crumble when you FD because then all of a sudden they're pushed out. I'm restarting the game. Okay, cool. I should probably restart the game too then because it's still frozen. But anyways, FD, you should generally just, when you're starting out, FD until the opponent shows to you that they know how to deal with your FD, because a lot of block strings in this game die. And when I say this game, I just mean Guilty Gear in general. I don't know this game specifically, I'm just speaking Guilty Gear in general. When you FD, a lot of block strings and pressure dies because of the spacing it creates. And so usually the opponent has to take a risk to counteract your FD, right? Like, for example, let me go on. I don't know if anybody's even paying attention to this, but I am going to go on a tangent regardless because this is important for beginners. Let's just pick Soul. Actually, since I know Venom, right? Now Souls. Let's just do Soul Mirror. I'm very much so. Cool. So let's say enemy status. They're regular blocking, right? Let's set them to block everything. Guard, limited. So they're blocking everything, right? Soul as a character has a lot of options, right? He has 2P plus. He has a command grab, very scary, big damage. Whatever. And then he has dust and overhead. He has one of the faster dusts. It's there, right? And he has like 2K, and he has frame trap tools like 6P, right? 6P is a very good frame trap tool. You've seen it. You get countered by 6P, you die, right? He has 6P. He has Bandit, which, you know, can catch you jumping out. Those are the main things. Again, I don't think Plus R Soul has anything crazy different when it comes to pressure compared to like your other Guilty Gear games. So he has a lot of tools. He has a lot of mix, but what you can eliminate it firstly with FD. So if he's doing this shit's scary because he can do that. Or okay, I don't know. I don't play Soul, so I don't know his ranges. So you can do like that into this. You can do that. So you can do one 2P into wild throw, and that. That's very hard to react to. He can do like 2, he can stagger, you know, he can gunflame, but that's mainly his mix. Oh, and then he has 2D, right? But 2 things important. Obviously, wild throw is a command grab, so it doesn't have much range. And his 5D, his dust, doesn't have very good range either. Like, see, it's just whipping right in his face. See, like, it has less range than his 2P. That's how little range his 5D has. So what that means is, because he has such little range, when we FD, he's immediately 2Ps and he's already out of range for most of his things. Fafnir for when it actually hits 2, I guess, or do you just? I'm just talking about block pressure. I'm just talking about Guilty Gear defensive 101. So, anyways, 1. So we notice if you FD just 1 2P, I mean, unless he's like right in your face when he starts it, even if he's slightly out, you FD once, he's already out of range of his 5D. So you automatically eliminate that option and do not have to worry about his overhead just by FDing one of these. So you automatically, so like from there, but he has to do it instantly, right? He can't do like multiple into dust, right? And if he's anywhere slightly outside, like even a smidge, he can't hit you, which he'll probably be slightly outside because most people when they start their pressure will have to be slightly outside of point blank to avoid your wake up throw. So just FDing that immediately shrinks down how much offense Soul can do. And he's usually outside of wild throw range. He might still be. Yeah, he's outside of wild throw range. That's one thing I've worked on, is I'm used to holding FD and praying. Exert spoiled me. Even in Exert, it's the same concept. If you just hold FD and pray, it's good up to a point, and I'll talk about that point soon. So just by FDing 1 2P from Soul, you eliminate so many of his options, right? And all of a sudden he has to think of like, okay, fuck, this guy's just push blocking me out, and I can't, you know. And he can obviously do things like this, but every time he's doing that, he's putting a risk, because you can just, like, the other Soul can just mash out, right? He can mash out. Let me record actually. So we can do stuff like this. Stuff like that, right? So that is not possible otherwise, because if we do that at point blank, well, okay, well, we had him run up. I didn't time it right. I don't play Soul. Sorry. Forgive me, I don't play Soul, so I'm bad at... There, see, we get counter hit. So we have to create the space first, otherwise you can't just mash for our life, right? Or else we get counter hit, right? Or worse. And we talked about another option, right? If we try to mash out of Soul's pressure, we get hit, right? So, but if he does stuff like... See, we die there, but... let's do it here. See right there, his 6P whiffs. Because otherwise he's still in range to get a huge frame trap if we mash there. But if we FD, another thing about Soul is his 6P is also short ranged. So if he's in slightly out, see, his 6P whiffs. So again, by FDing 1 or 2 2Ps from Soul, we immediately eliminate 5D. We eliminate 5D. You eliminate Wild Throw. And we eliminate 6P Frame Trap. And those are mostly Soul's pressure options. So if he has to counteract your FD, he has to take a risk. And then that's where we press buttons, right? And the thing about Guilty Gear is, a lot of offense and defensive choices are I don't really want to say guessing, You can say like rock paper scissors. A good phrase that I've heard used, I think Diamendo described it, is Guilty Gear offense and defense is a series of blind picks, right? You knock someone down, right? You knock someone down. You're running up, they wake up, and you immediately have to make the decision of what kind of block string you'll have to do, because it happens too quickly for you to sit there and react to whether they're FDing or IBing or whatever, right? It's not like I would say, like, it's not necessarily like Blaze Blue where you have time to like wait and see. This game is made in a way where it's not humanly possible to react to everything that happens in this game, especially in the heat of a match when you're also like super stressed and the rock music is going super loud. So you immediately have to commit, I guess. I guess commit, yeah. You would commit to an option, both on offense and defense. And the defensive, feel it out. Yeah, you have to feel it out. You basically have to feel out, like, are they the kind of player that's gonna be patient and FD, right? If you knock them down and if you think they're gonna FD, you can do things like this, right? And if you think they're the kind of person to like press buttons, you can do this, right? But you can't do both, right? But if you do that and they choose to FD, then like they're out and they're safe. That's why as a beginner, FD is a very good choice, because it immediately forces the opponent to not be able to just go in and just choose their favorite mix-up to do on you. They have to actively consider your FD choice first. So they have to consider it before they mix you up, right? Guilty Gear is a very mix-up oriented game, but it's not just all guessing. People think, oh, Guilty Gear, you just get up and guess, right? No, you first have to consider your opponent's defensive choices and then choose your mix-up, right? Like right there, right? He chose wrong. But like if you do something like that, right? That'll beat that. Even better is things like this, right? So this game, Guilty Gear, has a lot of wake-up throw invincibility. It's like something I want to say like 9-ish frames or something like that. It's a lot. Like generally, you can't get away with stuff like this because they can just mash, right? If he does this, see, he just whiffs. So he has to like run into you, right? But the only reason like run up meaty, you can't meaty it. But the only reason like just run up and just straight to throw works is against players that are just sitting there waiting to FD. Because keep in mind, it's simple, but like when you FD, you have to be blocking, right? So that's the whole principle. That's how you use FD and how you get around FD. So you have to, it's basically like push block. Think of it like push block. So that's FD in a nutshell. Instant block, what's a good example with Soul? I'm trying to think of a good example with Soul, because I don't play this game, so let me think of a good example with Soul real quick. I think this might work. Again, I don't play plus R, so I'm just going off of extra stuff. Let's try this. Give me a sec. I'm just trying to set the stuff up. There we go. See? So Soul has Bandit Revolver, right? The main use of that is to prevent jump out, right? Like, let's say he's trying to do like that, right? Gunflame. You block it out from like far out, he's kind of plus, right? He recovers before you do. Like, better way to demonstrate this. Let's go in the corner. Okay. It's hard to see. But yeah, basically, if you block a spaced out Gunflame, like Soul jumped up a little bit higher, so he's a frame advantage there. So he's plus on Gunflame. The way you beat that is you can do it again, Soul. Oh my god, does it not work in this game? Maybe it has to be spaced out. Hold up. FD a bit, probably. See there, we can escape with just a little bit of FD and then jumping out, right? But if he thinks we can do that, if he thinks we're gonna try to do that, he can do this, right? Yeah. So here. Oh, I didn't. What the fuck? Okay. See, you can't air block that. So when we try to jump the gun flame, the bandit revolver catches us. And the thing about bandit revolver is it's safe on block. Oh, the dummy just wasn't blocking, but this move is safe. See, you'll block, so it's like -6-ish. It's probably even safer in this game. See, he's safe, but if we instant block it, we reduce his frame advantages. Oh, I backdash there. If we instant block it, we can punish it. We might even, let's see if we can get like a full combo punish. I'm not sure if we can. I don't know Soul. Playing as Soul. No, we can't, but we can get a throw punish. Because another thing about IB, not only does it improve the defender's frame advantage, so reduces the offensive frames, but it reduces the pushback, so it brings you closer to each other. Which makes sense in deal tier because this game has 1 frame throws. Yeah, we were too far away. What the fuck? Yeah, it worked earlier. What the fuck? But you get the idea, right? It was working earlier. What the fuck? But yeah, but even if you are not close enough for throw, he's super minus there, and so we can take our turn there thanks to the instant block. I'm trying to think of like Soul examples. This might be an example. Bringer is like super plus. The extra example I would use is Fafnir, but Fafnir works super differently. I forgot training mode. Oh, now I get it. Training mode. Training mode switches the inputs. Okay, let's try this. Maybe this will be. Let's try this. Sorry, I'm so bad at teaching. See right there, Souls Plus, right? If he thinks we're just FDing, you can do that and either counter hit us for dummy damage or get back in. See, he's plus on Bringer. So if we're just sitting there and FDing all day, you can do this. Oh, you're doing a good job. This is really useful. Okay, cool. Glad to hear. So yeah, if let's say we're just FDing, right? If we just choose to FD, Soul can do that, and he's plus again. And he's plus, right? And so all of that meter we used. So this is the downside of FD. Not only did we. Let me build that meter to show. So not only did he get back in, we lost basically a quarter of our bar in the process. So even though we didn't get opened up there, we didn't get hit, we didn't get overheaded, we didn't get grabbed, the offense more or less won this situation, quote unquote, because they drained us of our resources. And also when you FD, it creates it reduces your tension pulse. So for a few seconds after you FD, it reduces your rate of meter gain. So it's a big cost to FD, right? And the offense can take advantage of that. So even if they didn't hit us or open us up, they still got something out of it because they were able for us to waste our resources. But if we insta block instead, you get that. We might even be able to make him minus. Let's see. What the fuck? No, he's still plus, but no, what the fuck? Yeah, see, now it's suddenly our turn when we instant block that. Whereas if we don't instant block it, oh, he's +0. I guess I recorded it poor. I probably recorded it poorly. But Smooth's definitely plus though. If we don't instant block it, we're gonna get counter hit. Or maybe I just recorded it wrong. But you get the idea. You still get the idea. This move, if we block it, he's plus and gets to retake his turn and basically eliminate, basically get around our FD. But if we instant block it, then we take away his turn, right? But if we choose to insta block it instead, if we're fishing for the insta block, then he can just do stuff like that. Or, you know, another thing is like if they're sitting there instant blocking, the same philosophy as FD. For them to instant block, they have to be blocking, right? If there's and Guilty Gear is designed in a way where the window to instant block, it's not hard to instant block, but it's also not super easy. You have to consciously instant block, right? So you have to sit there and time your blocks, and you know, you have to kind of pay attention. So when you're doing that, you have to focus on his attacks to properly instant block. And if they're focused, you know, human brains are small, so if they're focusing on what attacks you do to try to instant block, then you can just take advantage of that. And once again, we're back to the scenario where he can just do that because we're so focused on instant blocking, right? So that brings us full circle. So that's basically how generally the dichotomy of FD and instant block works in Guilty Gear. So you want to FD to create space, and you want to IB to reduce space and reduce frame advantage. So that's basically it. Then so that's FD and instant block. I don't know if there's any questions, but that's my summoner so far. From there's dead angle. I don't need to go into dead angle too much. It's mostly, oh, what the fuck? Oh yeah, I forgot. Souls 2D can low profile certain dead angles. I guess it can do it in this one. But yeah, dead angle, it costs 50%. It's very expensive, but guard cancels are very good in this game. They're invul, they knock them away, they're super fast. They usually have to go out of their way and make some kind of hard read to bait your dead angle. Especially if they're not a character like Soul or Venom. Is dead angle just, yeah, dead angle is just alpha counter. That's really useful. Thank you. FD and IB make more sense now. Cool. Yeah, it's basically alpha counter. It's basically like alpha counter or like whatever. I forget what Eunice calls it. I forget what Eunice and Melty call it because I call it alpha counter or dead angle in every other game. I call it alpha counter in every other game, or like guard cancel. It's a guard cancel. But the main downside is that they're usually unsafe on block, but it also costs a ton of meter. It costs 50%, right? That's 50% meter. I kind of think of dead angle as mostly like an I give up option or I have nothing left, right? If you just want to if like Soul's coming in and you don't have a read on the opponent, you don't know if you should be FDing his pressure or if you don't know if you should be IBing his pressure based on, you know, what you think the Soul player is going to choose to do, then you can just get out. Okay, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting Soul can low profile. Another thing is keep in mind the knockdown effect. So let's say like you're like mid-screen. You're like somewhere mid-screenish or like around here and he starts his pressure. All of a sudden we have the corner thanks to the dead angle. And spending 50% meter to instantly get the corner is a pretty good trade-off. So that's basically what dead angle is. Use it. There's other situations like character select. We're fighting like Kai. Actually, he has the big Oki, right? Like, okay, let's actually get. We can't do anything. If we up back, we get hit. FD won't do anything because it's a projectile, so Kai isn't affected by it. And IBing won't do anything either. I mean, you usually want to IB it to build meter, but again, you're still forced to take the mix-up. Right? So what we do to get rid of that is just dead angle. So that's a very common situation where you want a dead angle, is to get out of Kaioken. Yeah, it's very real commitment, but there's some times where it can really save you. Like, this is a very common example of like a really good dead angle choice. So that's dead angle. So we covered IB, FD, dead angle, burst. Oh, we definitely need to go over burst. Let's just go back to Soul. Burst is like super dead angle. Keep in mind you can burst during block strings. What the fuck happened there? How did he beat that? But yeah, you can burst during block strings. Bursts are very... They're a lot harder to bait than dead angles, because you usually can't low profile them. They're fast. They're completely invo. They're just like a huge ass get off you. Wake up burst is also a pretty good reversal. That's another thing, is you don't have to be in block stun. Why is he blocking that? What the fuck? This is just option select block string? Anyways, so yeah, they can end up blocking it. So they can bait it out, but that's usually a hard read. That's just the dummy. This is the dummy recording getting lucky. There's also goal burst. That's also scary and important. So burst is a defensive option. Just keep in mind that you don't always just have to burst out of combos. You can burst out of pressure. Let me re-record this, because this... Why is this happening? There we go. So yeah, keep in mind this is also an option you have, and it's the same concept as dead angle, right? Like, let's say like you're in the corner, or you're near the corner, and they block string. All of a sudden you have the corner. So that's a very undervalued way to use burst or dead angle. You can also do it like, let's say, you can also use burst as an offensive option. Like, let's say you're on offense and you guess wrong. Like, okay, here we go. Let's say this happens, right? And they burst out of our pressure. We can just do that and we keep the corner. So like, if you're on offense, and if like you're doing this stuff and then you think, okay, they're probably not gonna mash, so we can just keep doing this and then run it for like a wild throw, and then we get hit by that, we can just burst immediately to negate their abare and keep the corner. So that's an offensive method of using burst. So that's basically burst on offense and defense in a nutshell. In terms of bursting and combos, there's a lot you can get away with and not get away with. Let me just switch to a character right now. I should have switched this. Let me just make them both Venom. Oh god, this color sucks ass. Okay, so bursting out of combos. Let's turn on. This is honestly better information than most Discords have. Yeah, facts. Discord information kind of sucks ass, and there's honestly not enough tutorials and guides on Guilty Gear general defense. So I hope people find this useful at least. Let me switch to guard. And if you all have any questions whatsoever, feel free to shoot them. I'm not a college professor, and I'm also not an expert player, but I'll try my best. So let's try. Okay, so he's getting hit, right? So let's say he's hitting me. Scary ass combo, right? So you get the idea. You want to burst out of that, right? The thing about using bursts, yeah, I feel so much info I've been finding on just basic defense just isn't there, but this is really good. Thank you. So the philosophy versus burst, there's a lot of burst philosophies. One thing is the idea that when the game starts, you automatically have full burst. when a match starts. Not a round, but a match, right? And the important key difference from burst from all of the other defensive options I've listed previously is that it's the only one that carries over between rounds. Meter and all that other shit, it resets, right? Risk, meter, all that resets on the next round, but burst carries over. Because burst is something that's tracked over the whole match, you have a lot of time to build it back up, right? You don't just fucking lose your burst the next round like it does. Like with meter, you like there's times where towards the end of the match you just have to spend your meter because like it's gonna go away once it's over anyways. But burst, you don't have to, so you can kind of use it willy-nilly. So one philosophy is like, let's say, you know, you just get hit. One philosophy that I personally follow is Gelato Falls is 2 actually. It's just bursting immediately when you get hit. At the start of a round, or not at the start of a round, let's say you're like playing and doing shit, and then all of a sudden you get fucking hit. Just fuck off, right? Because like once it like spending your burst quickly, the philosophy is that you can also start building it back quickly, right? Because the burst is doing nothing when it's just sitting there at the top of your bar and just, you know, taking up space. So the sooner you spend your burst, the sooner you can start building it back up. And when you're at high health, like let's say like again it's the start of the round, you haven't taken any damage. You know, it's like you have, because burst, the more you get hit, obviously you build up burst. So when you're at high health, it's good to burst because then you can start building it back up pretty easily because you're gonna take damage regardless throughout the round. Whereas if you take damage without, that makes sense. I would consider pressure, but if you can build it back up quick, that's good. Yeah. Burst technically, I'm pretty sure Plus R follows this as well as Hector, is burst is technically number of hits, not damage. It's based on number of hits. So certain characters build up your burst faster than others. A famous example is Ramothal and Exerd. In this game, I don't know enough about the characters to know who builds you your burst fast, who builds your burst slow. Like Soul probably builds your burst very slow because his combos are a few hits, high damage, right? But characters with like a lot of various hits in their combos, like Chip is an example. When you get hit by Chip, he builds your burst very quickly for you. At least I feel like. But yeah, Ramothal is definitely like a famous example because their combos are super long with a lot of hits. So it builds up a lot of burst. So moves that have a lot of hits build that shit up quick, so you'll be able to build the burst a lot quicker. Yeah. So that's just an interesting tidbit that people don't know. So burst is not about damage, it's about hits. At least in Exerd. But I would assume it's the same in Plus R. But yeah, so the philosophy, like we were going back to, bursting, when you burst quickly, you when you are at a lot of health, you can use that health to build it up. Whereas like, let's say, I totally thought it was about damage, yeah. So like, whereas like, if you're just getting hit, we lost all that health, and none of it was used to build up burst, because our burst is filled up. So whereas if you use our burst quickly, then we can start building it back up, so you get access to more bursts, right? Like, if you save your whole burst for the entire round, and like, let's say you don't use your burst the entire round, right? You never use your burst the entire first round, and most of the second round, and save it for the end. That means you bursted only once the whole match. Whereas if you burst early, that gives you the opportunity to build more bursts and coincide, what word am I looking for? But anyways, but yeah, sorry, I'm bad at English, and it's not my first language. But if we burst early, that gives us the opportunity to get multiple bursts per match. Whereas if you save your burst, that limits how many bursts you can, and how many burst opportunities the game actually gives you. However, the conversely is if the opponent knows that you're the kind of person that is very trigger happy on burst, then it's like, well, you know, they can do. Then all of a sudden you lost your burst at the immediate start of the round. So you immediately are starting off the round without burst while your opponent has it. So they get a huge advantage on you so early in the game. So that's the downside of early bursting. So again, different philosophies, different people will tell you different things about whether it's good to early burst or late burst. And then we should go over late burst as well. A big point of contention is like, let's say you're at super low health, right? Where's health? It's another layer. Yeah, another layer of guess, right? Where's health? Life regen. How do I make this go like super fast? What's a button for it? But yeah, let's say we're at super low health. There's two things. One, if he bursts here, like he's gonna die, or he'll be close to death. This won't kill him because of guts, but he's probably gonna die from this. Or he won't die, but he'll be close to death, right? You get the idea. But if he bursts there, he gets the ability to make a comeback, right? So it's crucial that he bursts there. But if he does burst there, I can scoop for it, and if I have a huge life lead, it's okay. It's okay for me to go for the burst, right? But then it's also like let's say he does burst. Where's my health? I'm going to do my health, right? Like let's just assume I have really low health and they go for a combo that might kill me, right? That'll probably kill me. Like I have to burst there or else I lose, right? But conversely, if he knows that, he can just bait it out. However, you get what you can end up getting. So that can happen. Like I'm at low health, he baits my burst, and I'm dead. Now my fate is sealed, and I'm definitely gonna lose the match. But what can happen is, if you don't burst, they fuck up, and then all of a sudden you have advantage, and then we make the comeback. So that's kind of the back and forth, right? It's kind of like gambling, or it's like poker, right? In search of followers. Somebody shoot that bot. Do we not have a mod here? I don't know. I'll make Jupiter a mod, I guess. I don't stream much, so I never had to deal with bots until now. Yeah, you got the funny green sword. Anyways, back to the gambling. Gambling is not good, and even though I'm primarily a gacha player and I play a lot of idle games, gambling is not good. But sometimes gambling can pay off, right? So in this situation, the opponent thinks that we're going to burst because we have to burst, right? Because if they finish their combo, we die and we lose the match. But then if they do that, a lot of times there are burst safe routes, which I'll get into later. That's kind of high level. But if they do this and try to burst, they fuck up, they drop their combo, and then all of a sudden we got the advantage and we can make the comeback, right? But conversely, if the player is confident that, you know, even if they do fuck up and the burst doesn't come out, they still can win the match after that mistake, then they can still go for it too. So it's all about how confident you are in the opponent. And how confident you are in you. So that's whole burst. That's burst philosophy, really, or late burst philosophy. Other various tidbits about burst. There's some parts you should never burst. I'll just say it because you're good students. You deserve a reward. I'll just let you know. First off, never burst Venom's close slash. Every single hit is jump cancelable. Every single hit is jump cancelable. So that's the worst time to burst Venom. Because he can jump cancel the first hit, or the second hit, the third hit, whatever. There's actually an option select you can do. I'm not sure if it works in Plus R, but in Exer there's an option select so that he can option select his close slash so that if you do burst, he immediately gets a air instant block into air throw, and if you don't burst, he still gets a full combo. It's a weird, it utilizes the way hit stop works in Guilty Gear. Any move with any multi-hit normal that's also jump cancelable. So like, Milia can do it, Milia's close slash. I'm pretty sure Sin can do it too. But yeah, that option select, if it's a jump cancelable normal with multiple hits, there's a way to option select it so they get the combo, and if you burst, they also get an air throw. They get IB air throw. So never burst normals like that. Jump cancelable normals in general, that's a no-no for bursting. But stuff like bursting early, another good thing about bursting early is like, is you just escape a lot of damage, right? So that's why bursting early is good. But bursting early, they can also, it's very easy to bait bursts early. Let me see if I did that. I think I did that right? I don't know. See, right there. That's another way to bait burst, is you can do 5Ps, option selected into FD. I don't know the timing in this game, but you can do stuff like that. Venom does not do this often, so see right there. So you'll see it with Kai often. You'll see very often with Kai. If Kai does this to you, you don't want to burst this shit. If a Kai player gets a hit on you and does this shit, back. You don't want to burst that shit. Don't never burst that, because they're baiting a burst there. So those are very no burst places. Parts where it's guaranteed you can get a burst. I'm pretty sure with 6K. I'm pretty sure. Wow, that's an ugly ass color. I'm pretty sure 6K. That's 6K. I'm pretty sure that's burst safe or burst guaranteed. Oh, never mind. Oh fuck. But oh, dubious curb is. If you burst there, the special move at the end, there's nothing you can do. He can RC technically. Oh, he also has a FRC point, but I'm pretty sure the FRC point, you can burst before the FRC point. Actually, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. You might not be able to, but oh, here, this is actually a really good example. And when you time a burst, depending on how close the opponent is to your character's point, you can switch sides. So we just got the corner. So we actually took up a little bit of damage to get the corner. That's very good. So that's guaranteed burst point. Technically, if they don't have enough meter to RC, then there's actually nothing he can do about this. Like, he just has to eat that burst. So those are quote-unquote guaranteed burst points. A lot of characters have them. I don't know the characters in this game that have them. I know in Exer, but I don't know in this game which points and character combos are guaranteed burst safe. Or sorry, guaranteed burst versus burst safe. There's also burst safe routes, stuff like that. That's generally the stuff with burst. I don't know if you people have any other questions about bursts. That's generally how I think about bursts. It's one of those things. It's one thing you have to use. It's one thing you have to use, but it's also one thing that can kill you if you use it too much. And it's all based on, burst habits, right? Makes sense. Something that'll make more sense as I use more. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's the general thing with bursts. So watch out for moves like that. Again, I'm recording this with plus art. If this were Exert, I would be able to give a million more examples of the concepts I'm trying to convey. But that's generally the philosophy with bursts: is you need to use it, but you can't use it too much, because then, getting your burst baited is one of the worst things that can happen to you, right? But conversely, like, if you show, like I just said, there's points where it's bad to burst, right? But depending on, like, let's say they're a player either can't do the option select or don't have the best reactions in the world. Because another thing about bursts is they're designed, again, like I said earlier, Guilty Gear is designed in a way where it's not perfectly possible for human beings to react to everything. Bursts are a good example because I think average reaction time for humans is, 17 frames? I want to say 17 frames. Pretty sure 17 frames. Or most people can react within 17 frames. But like 17 is generous. That's like 17 is like, if you're trying to react to like a red light turning to green or some shit like that, your reaction time gets slower and slower the more stimulus there is. And there's a lot of stimulus and guilty here because there's so much like resources and meter and like sounds and shit that you have to keep track of. Bursts are 18 frames. Bursts are 18 frames, so they're just short of human reaction time. So bursts are designed in a way they're fast enough where you can technically react to bursts, but it's not easy. Bursts are not unreactable, but they're also not easily reactable. You kind of have to be looking for it, right? So because of that, if you feel your opponent doesn't have the best reactions, you can go for bursts in points where it's technically not good to burst there. It's technically not good to burst Venom's close slash. So I'm basically going against what I just taught you people. But when you do burst this, like let's say the first time you get hit, you say, fuck it, I'm making a bad burst. Then the next time they do it, you know, but the next time they do it, again, that can happen. So sometimes going for bad bursts, quote unquote bad bursts, or baitable bursts, can work out. Results may vary, and again, it's dependent on the kind of player you're playing. It's independent of what characters they're playing. It's all based on the player, how good you think their reactions are, how good their adaptability is. So that's probably the last thing I want to cover with bursts. What else do I need to cover? So we covered FD, IB, dead angle, burst. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, defensive throw. I imagine that especially means a lot if they're familiar with this game. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with this game. I can explain exert stuff better. I just can't explain plus art stuff better. Fuzzy jump. We can go to advanced stuff. Fuzzy jump, right? Again, I'm not a slow player. Or GG in general, yeah. Fuzzy jump, right? Actually, really good way to. Bear with me, I don't play Potemkin. So I've literally never touched this character in my life. I play with a lot of new people besides when I play with Jaw, so there's that, yeah. Gelato can teach you defensive 6P, 6H options. But yeah, we'll see input for Pop Buster real quick. Half circle back forward? Okay, cool. Okay. What the fuck? Can you do it in this game? My brand's full circle P? Oh no, it's half circle back to forward P. No, it's half circle back to forward. Okay. My brain expands in any game I play with them. My brain shrinks. Just kidding. Our matches are very... Let's just put this guy in the corner. It's probably easier to do in the corner. Actually, here we can just. What's the input for? Break? Or like shoulder? What's the input for shoulder? It's a charge move, right? Oh, it's H. Now, how do you cancel out? It's P, right? Okay, cool. Okay. So Potemkin, right? I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's stupid. I thought it was a 360 in this game. Okay, so Potemkin does this. Again, bear with me. I don't play Potemkin. Oh my god. I've literally never played Potemkin in my life. But this is an important part about... Maybe that works. Let's see if that works. So he does this, right? And then from there, if he does jump H properly... So he does this, right? If he does this properly, that jump H is a safe jump. You can't reversal here. So if you're a soul player or any DP player, never DP here when Potemkin does JH. It's a safe jump. And after you block the JH, you immediately have to deal with a mix-up of whether he does 2P or a command grab, right? He can do 2P here to catch our jump, or he can do command grab. But what we can do here is we can fuzzy jump, right? If you played like other team games or other anime games, you're probably familiar with fuzzy inputs. So what we can do here to avoid the mix-up is we can, if you watch my stick, oh, this is actually perfect because I think I have my stick display on for the stream. We hold down back. Well, we block the JH first. We hold down back and then quickly go from up back to down back. Optimally, you want to FD while you're doing it, so in case he tries to like anti-air you. I didn't do it right. Sorry, I just forgot to do it. Alright, let's do it. So he command grabs us, safe jumps. Oh fuck! I thought the 2P was coming out. Okay, so he command grabs us, and then safe jumps us, and then we fuzzy jump out. And if we do this correctly, this should also be 2P. Because that technically, like in Street Fighter or other games, would catch our jump edge. I'm probably just not timing it right. See right there? We were able to block the 2P, but also if he tries to do command grab, we up back out. So the way Potemkin deals with that is he has to hard read with well, not that. Whatever is the air grab. I forget what's the name. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's DP. So he can do that, right? He can do that. But that's a hard read against our fuzzy jump. But yeah, it's Cerebellum. It's a Cerebellum move. Yeah, if we do this correctly, we should be able to avoid it. Yeah, there. See, the reason we go straight to down back is in case of the 2P. So if this game's recording, if we had multiple recording slots in this game, I don't think we do, it'd be easier for me to display this. But basically, we can eliminate the 2P and the SPD setup and the SPD mix-up by fuzzy jumping out. There's a few different ways you can deal with fuzzy jumpers. So, for example, an easy one is like with Venom. What the fuck is this color? Let's say I messed it up. Venom's trying to try to throw us, right? Because throws are good for Venom because he gets a full combo off of throw, which is rare in Guilty Gear. It's not like Blaze Blue where everybody gets a combo off throw. It's very rare in Guilty Gear to combo off your throw. So if he's doing this, see, we can escape with the fuzzy jump. But we can do this. See that? See that? Okay, we're just fucking up. Okay, this is a Venom thing. It's because I had charge, that's why. That sucks. So we can do that. That's only happening because I'm playing a charge character. We need to switch to a non-charge character. That's another reason why Venom's defense sucks. Anyways. See there? We avoided the 2K2K. if I record this right, he shouldn't be able to jump out, but I can be wrong. So he can't jump out of there, but we're still blocking, right? We're still blocking, so we don't get hit. And if he tries to throw, we avoid that too, right? So the question is, how the fuck does Venom stop this? How do people stop people from just fuzzy jumping all day? The one way you can stop fuzzy jumping is, keep in mind there's a small frame window where they're not holding down back. They're holding up back to jump before they go straight back to down back. What you can do against that is you can do a true block string into a low. Yeah, see? Oh my god. So that catches our fuzzy jump time. I mean, in the corner, Venom gets a really good combo off 2D, so it's scary. But if he does anything else, does that, or does sorry, does that, I plus slap that. So if he does literally anything else than the anti-fuzzy option, pretty sure, then he loses, right? He can also just ignore it and just go for his regular box swing. Right? You can just do that. That's one option, is just he can just ignore and go for something safe. But you know, it depends on like how badly he wants to call us out. He can go for, you know, he can go for the anti-fuzzy block swing. I messed up the timing. There we go. Gotta head out right now, but thanks for the games and also the... Yeah, no problem. I basically covered everything I wanted to cover in terms of basics. I'm just going on because I'm a very rambly person, and I figured, well, while I'm here, I might as well just cover as much as I can and just throw it into one VOD. Or maybe one YouTube video, and then I'll post a link or something. But yeah, thank you for the games. If you ever want to play again, just hit me up. And I hope you had fun, and I hope you learned. Okay, so anyways, with the remaining 7 viewers that are helplessly forced to watch me ramble about Guilty Gear defense. So, when he calls out our fuzzy... Cool. So when Venom calls out our fuzzy jump, with that, he's going from 2K to 2D. Guilty Gear, generally, very few normals or lows. You have to use the low in this situation to call out the fuzzy jump because it goes through their guard because they're not holding down back. But Venom, his only lows are 2K and 2D. Soul is similar. What else? What other characters? A lot of characters, for the most part, they only have lows off of their early normals, which is their 2K, and their last normal, which is 2D. So they don't have any Gatlings out of their 2D. They might have like one other low hitting normal in between. But it's not super common to have like a ton of low hitting moves in Guilty Gear. You'll have, usually it's like your 2K, your starter, and then like your sweep. Because of that, when Venom goes through from 2K to 2D, he goes straight through his Gatling table. He skips most of his Gatling table, so he basically shortens his block string, his potential block string, and therein reduces his pressure. So if we just normally block this, like Venom is already, and if we were even slightly out, like if we were even slightly out, let me space this correctly. Let me just backdash. See right there? Venom whiffs. So it's actually a huge risk for him to go for the anti-fuzzy option. I don't know soul combo, so I don't know the conversion, but you get the idea. We get a whiff punish and we punish Venom for applying poor pressure. Because again, he picked up poor blind pick because he thought we were choosing to fuzzy jump, but we weren't. But if you did fuzzy jump, you would be rewarded. So that's one aspect of Guilty Gear, is dealing with fuzzy jumps. There's other ways to deal with fuzzy jumps depending on what your character specific options is. You know, like again, Soul has this to stop jumps. He has like good, like, you know, like close normals to catch you. He has like, you know, gunflame. Gunflame doesn't catch fuzzy jumps, but if he RCs it, he can air to air, meet you in the air and air to air you and keep you grounded. So that's one thing, is like dealing with fuzzy jumps. I don't know all the different options that like other characters use to deal with like fuzzy jumping, but that's just one option. And I showed you like Potemkin has like a character specific option. He just has the anti-air grab to stop fuzzy jumping. But learning fuzzy jumping is important, especially for characters like Potemkin, because if you don't know how to fuzzy jump, Potemkin can eat you alive, because like all of a sudden he can force you to like be in a 50-50 every time you block literally anything from Potemkin. But the moment you start applying fuzzy jump against Potemkin, he's suddenly forced to like take big hard reads. So that's one defense. That's one I like to lump that option outside of the ones I previously mentioned, like IB, FD, dead angle and blitz, or dead angle and burst, because it's not like a metered, it's not like a metered defensive option. It's just a thing you can do, right? It's just an input, right? Another one's like Abare, right? Abare is another thing. One important thing about Guilty Gear that I forgot to mention, I really should. Way throws work, right? So throws are one frame. There's forward and H. You can option select them too, because the button priority in Guilty Gear goes in reverse. So if I press H and I press P, if I do 6H and I press 6P at the same time, I get 6P. So if I want to throw with Soul, I can either do that or do that. So if I'm outside of range, I get a 6P. So like, let's say they do something that's like, they just do something weird. They do something that's like throw and vol or whatever the fuck, or they try to jump or whatever, then I'll get that. But if I'm able to throw them, then I get the throw. So that option select is important. That's actually is very good info. Yeah. Not enough people know that. You very rarely, yeah, very good option. You very rarely do use like raw 6Hs. It depends on your character. I don't know enough about Soul to know if like he uses raw 6H for throw. Venom can do it because Venom 6H is like an anti-air move. So like there's sometimes in the corner where like if they try to jump out, this can sometimes catch. I guess Soul just has a weird jump arc, but if they like jump late, they can catch. I messed up, but you get the idea. Like mid-screen is easier to see. Whatever. Nice title. Thanks, you're welcome. But yeah, it's harder to show in like training mode, but like in real matches, like that can catch. But for the most part, you want to option select. Like right there, right? Because it's better. Like, let's say you misjudge, because throws have a very finicky range where you can throw people. So if you misjudge, like I just got a first slash, or, you know, most case scenario, I just got a close slash. That's a lot better, because even though I missed my throw opportunity, I still get pressure, so I safeguard myself in case I fuck up the throw distance. So that's why it's good to option select your throws with close slash mostly. You mostly want to option select with close slash, because close slashes generally are your fastest, or one of your fastest normals, and their close slashes are designed to be very good for pressure. However, sometimes you can also do like 6 speed. You can do like, so you can do like, so 6P, 6H is also a good option select. Because let's say they're trying to jump your throw. So in this situation, Venom gets a throw on us. And if we jump and we forget to FD, he anti-airs us. So that's a good option select. What else? But yeah, those are the main throw option selects you want to use in Guilty Gear, is either 6P, 6H, or close slash 6H. Or 6S, 6H. So Another reason to use it, and why throws are a bit finicky in Guilty Gear. In Guilty Gear, when you're put into hit stun or block stun, the moment you come out of, it's different for hit stun, but it's more important with block stun. The moment you come out of block stun in Guilty Gear, you have 5 frames of throw invincibility after you get out of block stun. It might be 6, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you get 5 frames of throw invincibility after you come out of block stun. That prevents people from doing like instant tick throws, right? Like if I do that, like here, let's record Venom here. Like here. Like I'm mashing throw the moment I recover from 2k. I didn't do it fast enough. See? I don't get the throw. I don't get the throw there because even though I'm not in block stun there, so I can get hit by the close slash or the 6H. But the thing is, I have the post block stun throw in wall frames right there, and what that means is that the defender has an advantage when escaping throws, because there's 5 frames after you block the 2k. There are 5 frames where you can't be thrown, but the opponent can, because you just came out of block stun. So that's why like defensive throw is very good too. So like if I try to throw, key tech. So you can see that there's 5 frames or so where the defender can throw you, but the offense can't throw them. However, like, and defensive throw mash is very common in low level Guilty Gear. This is actually something I should have covered at the start, because this is just really annoying to deal with, and it's actually it's a topic that doesn't get covered as often as it should be. Is how to deal with people who just mash throw on defense. Like, it's a 1 frame option. If I get too close, like, I fuck up, right? One thing is you can use similar options that you use to cover against fuzzy jump, because again, the thing about throws in Guilty Gear, there's no crouch tech, by the way. There's no crouch throws, but when they throw, they have to be doing back or forward plus H, so they can't be crouch blocking when they do reversal throw. So again, we can apply the same thing. So if someone's like blocking your 2k and then immediately trying to throw you, so that beats it. You can also, another thing is if they're mashing, this is something that people don't internalize often, is that when they're mashing throw on defense, you know, you don't, because again, like we said, this is a high risk option for Venom because it eliminates a lot of his pressure if he guesses wrong and the opponent doesn't get hit. However, you can also just ignore it, because the thing about is if they're mashing throw on defense, they're not FDing. So you can take advantage of the fact that if they're mashing on defense, whether it's like mashing a button, mashing like 2P, mashing like a DP, or like mashing throw, if they're mashing shit, then they're not FDing, because FD is like a very specific input. So, and you have to be blocking during it. So if they're mashing throw or any other option, you can also take a safe route as the offender, and just take advantage of the fact that they're not FDing. So you can use whatever blockstring your character has that takes advantage of no FD, right? Like Venom, he does that and he's like plus 10. He's like like plus 8 in this game, I think. But he's super plus. You know, and in the corner it's like, if you're not FDing that, then he can just get pressure for free, right? So yeah. So we need to FD to get out of this. So we need to FD out of that, right? But, you know, obviously if we FD, that means we're not doing like reversal throw or mashing buttons, which means like Venom can do just the same thing as Soul. Like, you can do this, or he can do, you know, or he can do a tick throw, right? So that's another thing, is if people are doing like defensive throw mash against your pressure, just realize that it means they're not FDing, and then you need to learn your character's options. They're like quote-unquote optimal or best block string to use against players that are not FDing. So you need to figure out a way to force them to FD. When you force the defense to FD, that means you force them to stop pressing buttons. So that's one way off. That's another way offense and defense work in tandem in Guilty Gear. So I think that's everything I need to cover. IB, FD, burst, dead angle, fuzzy jump. Oh yeah, cool. Thank you for the follow, Chaotic Chris. I don't know what else I need to cover, but that's basically me spending the past hour explaining like one question. I don't know if people have like any other questions. I don't know who else is even in the chat or still paying attention. I think I just put everybody to sleep. That was such useful info. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. That's generally just how I like to look at things. But basically, like if I had to put it shortly, like defense in Guilty Gear, it's really just boils down to like knowing when to FD versus knowing when to IB, because you can't do both. And there's a lot of options in the game as well where you have to do one or the other. Like what's an option? Does Jam still have the vacuum 2H in this game where you have to IB it to get out? No. Is it another button, or does she just not have it in this game? Whatever. I'm thinking extra stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of like moves in this game, or like we talked about Bandit Bringer with Soul. Like there's a lot of moves where like you just have to IB it. Like that's like the quote unquote correct option, or like you have to FD it to get out, like the Venom option we were talking about. But obviously, you can't just sit there and react to everything and just say, oh, okay, they're doing this, so I IB, or they're doing that, so I FD. You usually have to like just take a guess. You make a blind pick of like whether you FD or whether you IB or burst or whatever. Or like if you don't want to be forced into the RPS situation, you can just dead angle out at the cost of a lot of meter. That's only exit for her? Okay, cool. I don't know plus R Jam. But yeah, that's basically how I like to think of Guilty Gear defense and offense. It's a series of blind picks. There's a thread by Daemendo that I need to find that also explains it really well with Slayer. And that's another thing, is there's certain characters where it's generally better to FD than IB. Like against Slayer, you mostly want to FD more than you want to IB, because that motherfucker is so plus that IBing most of his stuff besides like a few things like under pressure and things like that. Most of his stuff you want to FD him out rather than IB, just because he's so plus, and IBing doesn't really grant you a lot against him, and he has throw invincible moves, so using IB to set up a defensive throw is pretty risky on Slayer, because like, he can just counter hit you for days. So generally against characters like Slayer and also like Soul, it's better to like FD them out. And all of a sudden they like panic, right? Like a lot of people, like they don't lab anti-FD block strings. So like the moment when you're a beginner, that's why when I say when you're a beginner, you want to mess around with FD more than the other defensive options, because it's easy to use, first of all, because IB, it takes practice and timing. You have to get used to IBing moves, but FD, it's easy and simple. You just sit there and you FD it, right? And the moment you do that, all of a sudden the offense is forced to consider that, and not just, you force the offense to not autopilot is the thing. So that's why FD is good as a beginner. It's just practice with FD a lot. In one of my servers, my partner who fishes as a hobby said he's gonna pick up Slayer, and my friend was like, oh shit, it makes sense you're playing Slayer. He's constantly fishing for counter hits. Yeah, pretty much. Slayer's a fisher. But yeah, that's generally how I think of Guilty Gear offense and defense. If you have any questions or anything, like, feel free. It doesn't have to be about specifically like that concept, like anything generally about Guilty Gear, and I can try to answer to the best of my ability. I'm not amazing at it, and again, I'm not a great Guilty Gear player. I've just been playing for a decent amount of time where I've like picked up stuff, and like I feel like I understand the mindset of Guilty Gear. That's it. So I'm no expert by any means. If a better player tells you to do something different, probably listen to them. But this is I'm pretty confident that this is the the correct advice for learning Guilty Gear and how to think about how the offense and defense works in this game. It's very fast paced, so again, you're going to have to just commit. It's very different from a game like, say, French break games, where it rewards defense a lot and it rewards being patient. The way I look at it is Guilty Gear is a game that... Guilty Gear is a game where you cannot sit still. It's a game where it forces you to never sit still, both in neutral and also defense, right? Like we said before, like, why do Guilty Gear players mash so much? They mash a lot because there's times where you kind of just have to mash, right? Like we talked about earlier, there's times where you seriously have to mash because you get nothing out of it from blocking. It's not like Melty, or better examples Under Night, where you can sit there and block a lot and then build resources through blocking, right? It's not like Tekken where, you know, you don't have to worry about like chip damage a ton besides like lows. It's a game where there's a guard bar. Like I said, I didn't even mention that till now, but there's a guard bar, obviously. So you literally cannot sit there and block forever. And FD costs meter as well and creates tension, or reduces your tension pulse. So, like, you can't just sit there and block all the time. It's not like other fighting games where it's kind of more okay to just keep it cool on defense. So you want to get out of blocking as soon as possible. So sometimes that means like you just gotta mash, right? Especially if you know there's a gap, right? And also, like we said, there's the 5-6-ish frames of post block stun throw and roll, which also incentivizes you to mash, because most fastest normals in this game in Guilty Gear are 5 to 6 frames. Their fastest normal is probably 5 to 6 frames. Okay, I'm gonna head off. Thank you for this, but will be very useful in understanding Plus server better. Come on by in Miles server for games sometime. Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, I'm in Miles server. I'll definitely hit you up for games. I basically covered everything I wanted to cover, so I'm glad it was of use. So have a nice night, and thank you for stopping by the stream. I'm probably gonna take a break because I just talked for. I actually have no idea how long I've just been talking. I have no idea how long that was actually going to be. And I have no idea how long that rant was. Maybe I'll clip the VOD and post it somewhere, because that's stuff that I've been meaning to explain to a lot of people, but it just doesn't exist as like a video or like an article by like any content creator. And I'm not a content creator, really. I don't like to call myself one, at least. But that was just something that I wanted to explain, and I've had to explain it to people a lot of times before that have been trying to pick up Guilty Gear. So hopefully that was useful to whoever was watching. I'm gonna take a break, and then maybe I'm just gonna switch to Jackbox, honestly. We did not end up playing as much Guilty Gear as I expected, but we explained Guilty Gear, which is kind of, in my opinion, equally as fun as playing Guilty Gear. So I'm gonna take a break.